Hi there. This is Val at Audible Local Ledger in chilly and icy and snowy Mashpee here on Cape Cod. Reading today the Fall River Herald News for Thursday, January 29th, 2026. So let's look at the weather on the South Coast. Today, cold, very cold. 19 to 26 for the high, 1 to 8 for the low. Friday, cold, sunny but frigid. Highs 15 to 22, lows -9 to -2. Saturday, very cold, highs 19 to 26, lows 13 to 20. Sunday, snow is possible. Highs 29 to 36, lows 16 to 23. And Monday, plenty of sunshine, highs 31 to 38, lows 14 to 21. Oh my goodness, we just need to hold out till Sunday and Monday when we're going to hopefully get above freezing. So, turning to the front page of the Fall River Herald News for Thursday, January 29th, 2026. We got two stories on the front page. Old Police Station Could Be Demolished by Dan Medeiros and Emily Sherney, the Herald News, USA Today Network. The city is looking for someone to knock down the old Bedford Street Police Station. The city on Monday, January 26th, published a request for proposals to demolish the building at 158 Bedford Street, which is currently uninhabitable and likely contaminated with asbestos and lead. Fall River's purchasing department will have solicitation packages for bidders available beginning Wednesday, January 28th. Bids are due by February 26th at 2 p.m. The move comes about a year after the building was deeded back to the city, after a developer was unable to remediate the property and turn it into market-rate apartments due to safety issues. For at least a decade, the building has been considered an eyesore, overdue for the wrecking ball. About a year ago, Mayor Paul Coogan insisted the building needed to be demolished, and more recently, the City Council advocated for a more proactive approach to handling blighted properties. Old Fall River Police Station building has shaky history. The Bedford Street building was constructed around 1915 and served as the city's police headquarters until 1997, when the department was moved to its current station on Pleasant Street. The blighted property has seen a turbulent history of buyers and sellers over subsequent years, with high hopes of making something of the historic structure. According to past reports, the 100-year-old building was first purchased by former city resident and Florida real estate developer John M. Paveo for $160,000 under former Mayor Edward Lambert, after the City Council Committee on Real Estate rejected local developer Tony Cordero's offer of $25,000. Paveo tried to flip the police station a month after its purchase for $695,000, then became involved in an inside deal that enabled Paveo's JPS Investments Group of Ocoee, Florida, to transfer the property to Superior International Investments Corporation, headed by Pedro Pete Benavides, a former Fall River resident. Benavides sold the building in June 2008 for $1.28 million to Winter Garden, Florida-based Casper Holdings, LLC, owned by Steve Brueggemann, who later forfeited the building when $80,000 in back taxes to the city in 2012 were due. In May 2013, former Mayor Will Flanagan attempted to unsuccessfully sell the police station at the minimum bid of $60,360 to lone bidder Joseph Ruggiero, Sr. of Barrington, Rhode Island. While in office, former Mayor Yaziel Correa II tried to sell the property with the hopes of developing it into a boutique hotel, but that vision never materialized. More recently, Wethersfield LLC purchased the dilapidated building at 158 Bedford Street for $10,000 in January 2021, with a plan to develop it into 35 market rate units, a proposal that was approved by the Fall River Zoning Board of Appeals in July and filed with the city's Registry of Deeds in September 2022. That effort came to a standstill in August 2023 when Glenn Hathaway, the city's head of building inspections, raised concerns about the building's soundness and ordered a structural engineering report before work inside the building resumed. Wethersfield deeded the property back to the city in late 2024 in lieu of foreclosure. Building's interior is contaminated and in decrepit shape. The brick neoclassical building occupies a key spot at the corner of Bedford and High Streets on the edge of downtown Fall River. Its appearance and state are not appealing. Building inspectors have said the building's roof has long been compromised, allowing rain and snow to enter the building and cause damage throughout. Multiple windows are broken or open to the elements. For over a decade, it has been fenced off to protect passerby from potentially falling debris and to discourage vandals and squatters. The building's interior is severely dilapidated and is likely contaminated with asbestos, lead paint, mold, and possibly fuel oil. Nevertheless, the building is on the city's register of significant structures. Entry on that list means any attempt to demolish the building would have to go before the City Historical Commission, which would impose a 6-month demolition delay. In May 2025, Alex Silva of the Preservation Society of Fall River advocated for redevelopment rather than demolition, or at least reclamation of historical elements of the facade, like the eagle. A second front page story in the Fall River Herald News, Thursday, January 29, 2026. Somerset Water District checking town pipes for lead, by Emily Sherney, the Herald News, USA Today Network. In a town where the water service lines are nearly a century old, a federally and state-mandated notice is making the rounds of Somerset, drawing confusion and questions from water district customers who may need their water lines evaluated and replaced. Affected residents received a 2-page December 29 notice, also shared with the Herald News, notifying them that the lines delivering drinking water to their homes could be made of unknown or unclassified materials that need to be tested and inventoried to ensure the pipes do not contain lead. The state's Department of Environmental Protection and the Federal Environmental Protection Agency require that the town send a notice to residents stating that unknown pipes could be presumed to contain lead. Unknown is defined by the notice as pipes that could be made of or contain lead. In a separate 1-page fact sheet posted to the town's website and dated January 2nd, Somerset's Water and Sewer Commissioner stated that the town's drinking water is in compliance with Massachusetts regulations for lead content, and that Somerset does not have a lead service problem, as has been confirmed by the town's mandated testing program and reported in an annual 2024 Consumer Confidence Report. What should you do if you receive this letter? While Somerset's Water District continues to inventory water service lines inventory process, residents are asked to await further instructions for replacing or removing pipes that potentially have lead. Until the material of Somerset's unknown service lines are confirmed, the notice says residents should take precautionary measures to reduce their exposure to lead, for which there is no safe level in drinking water. Antonio Neves, Somerset Water District's plant manager and chief operator, has not yet responded to a request for comment regarding the timeline and progress of inventorying the town's water lines. The town's communications call on residents to verify the material of their water lines and protect themselves against the risk of lead exposure. Here's what you need to know. Drinking water from pipes containing lead can pose glaring health risks. Exposure to lead can cause serious effects in vulnerable groups, including pregnant people, young children, and infants, those breastfed and formula fed, read the notice received by residents whose water service lines are of unknown composition. The notice lists various behavioral impacts, attention deficits, and decreases in IQ as symptoms of lead exposure in small children. These symptoms may be visible in children whose parent was exposed to lead while pregnant. Adults may have increased risks of heart disease, high blood pressure, kidney or nervous system problems. Residents are encouraged to speak with their doctor if they are concerned about associated risks. Lead cannot be seen, smelled, or tasted in drinking water, and boiling does nothing to eliminate it from the water supply, the notice states. Steps you can take to decrease lead exposure. If your pipes contain lead, running your water for at least a minute can help flush out lead that has leached into the water. Taking a shower, running the kitchen faucet, or using water for non-consumptive uses can help move still water that, the longer it sits, increases in lead levels. Use only cold, fresh water for drinking, cooking, or preparing baby formula. Identify and replace plumbing fixtures that are believed to have lead or copper piping with lead solder. Copper pipes installed prior to 1986 are said to have a higher likelihood of containing lead. Brass piping and plumbing installed prior to 2014 and after the Safe Drinking Water Act was established may contain up to 8% lead. After the 2014 Lead Reduction Act, lead-free levels were distinguished at 0.25%. Clean the aerator, a screen at the tip of the faucet, to reduce the potential that leaden sediment or debris can accumulate. Obtain a National Sanitation Foundation International Certified water filter and only run cold water through the filter. Check filter package for an NSF label. Somerset does not encourage the installation of a filter, and the cost of a filter and its installation or having water tested for lead are not reimbursable by the town. A blood test can rule out lead exposure, especially in young children. Somerset's pipes are nearly a century old, water commissioners say. Water lines in town are approaching 100 years of age and need replacement, though commissioners claim their service line inventory is complete and accurate, but they note that there are instances where no records exist. The town has been replacing its pipes with American Rescue Plan Act funding, a process that carries a deadline of 2036. In materials posted online, Somerset indicates it will continue to seek state and federal grants to facilitate the replacement of galvanized iron pipes which do not contain lead but could absorb lead from the environment. The fact sheet contends that Somerset has been sampling for lead since 1991, and findings have never exceeded state or federal maximum levels. Inventory records indicate no town water lines upstream from a resident's property line to the street contain lead. Upstream water lines are the only pipes being tested, with replacement pipe funded by the town. More resources available online. The Massachusetts DEP has free informational resources online. At this time, residents who suspect their pipes may contain lead or have received a notice may contact the Somerset Water Department at 508-679-2731. Again, If you are a resident of Somerset and you suspect your pipes may contain lead or you have received a notice, contact the Somerset Water Department at 508 679 2731. Or you can visit the district office at 3429 County Street. There is one obituary to read in the Fall River Herald News, Thursday, January 29, 2026. George D. Kelly. George D. Kelly, age 91, of Fall River, peacefully passed away at home on Tuesday, January 27, 2026. George's professional journey began as a history teacher at BMC Durfee High School, then head of the Social Studies Department, and ultimately as the vice principal until his retirement in 1996. George was an Army veteran of the Korean War, member of the Fall River Sports Program, manager and coach of the Bears Little League team, and was very involved in Holy Name Parish. Relatives and friends are invited to his funeral mass on Saturday, January 31st, 2026 at 10 a.m. at Holy Name Church, 709 Hanover Street, Fall River. Again, funeral mass on Saturday, January 31st, 2026 at 10 a.m. at Holy Name Church, 709 Hanover Street, Fall River. Please meet at the church. His burial will take place at St. Patrick's Cemetery. In lieu of flowers, please consider a donation to DAV, Disabled American Veterans, which can be found online, help.dav.org. Help.dav.org. It's the Disabled American Veterans. For a complete obituary, please visit Eau Claire Funeral Home online. Our condolences to George D. Kelly's family and friends. Well, I'm sure there are many who are enjoying our snowy cold weather. And Ashley Schuler of the Herald News says, have fun after snowstorm at Fall River area sledding hills. Snow days are the best days, once all the plowing and heavy lifting is out of the way, that is. After winters of waiting for decent snowfall, adventurous kids and outdoor enthusiasts can rejoice at the vast expanse of fluffy white powder Mother Nature has gifted the region for your enjoyment. And once the roads are safe for travel, sledding is at the top of most families' to-do lists. Whether you are looking to hit some gentle slopes with the young ones or are going for a new amateur recreational saucer sleds land speed record, Clark Griswold style, there are plenty of local spots to turn to for a day of delightful downhill excitement. With over a foot of snow blanketing the south coast, there are sure to even be some snow piles awaiting sledders in unexpected places. In need of some ideas? Here's a guide to some of Greater Fall River's most popular sledding spots to hit for a winter adventure. So grab your toboggan, inflatable tube, snowboard, or handy lunch tray even, and away we go. Kennedy Park, Fall River. Fall River is home to two notable hills that have served as a haven for generations of local sledders. Just past the playground and pavilion at Lower Kennedy Park lies a slope overlooking the Taunton River that beckons tobogganers and tubers of all ages. You can catch quite a bit of speed starting from the very top of the hill. Just steer clear of the rocks and trees along its perimeter, as well as fellow riders, or start in the middle of the slope for a more leisurely run. There is plenty of parking located in the park's lot on Broadway or along the sides of the hill on Middle Street or Bradford Avenue. North Park, Fall River. No need to grease that sled. Those with a need for speed can head to North Park to roar down from the top of its snowy hills for maximum thrills. Located on Fall River's famed Seven Hills, North Park has been a sledding destination for longer than anyone remembers. Driving by the park on President Avenue, where cars line the streets to unload their sleighs, you can hear the laughter and shouts of joy as you approach the drop-off. Here, the hills are steep, so brave, young, and young-at-heart sledders can build up a good amount of speed on their way down. Situated near Morton Middle School, there are entrances at President and Highland Avenue and Hood Street, and plenty of parking available nearby. Ruggles Park, Fall River. Ruggles Park is a great spot for those seeking more of a bunny slope for their little kids to enjoy. Bordered by Pine, Seabury, and Locust Streets, the city park features smaller hills near the baseball field with a gentle incline. Pierce Beach in Somerset. The Big Red Slide serves as a centerpiece of the Pierce Beach playground and recreation area in the warmer months, and winter snowfall offers some big white hills just nearby for sledding season. It is located along the Taunton River at 295 South Street, Somerset. Chase Street School, Somerset. Chase Street School is also considered a hidden sledding gem among locals. The elementary school grounds at 538 Chase Street is a go-to smaller hills that still serves up winter thrills. Potato Hill in Westport. Potato Hill has a moderate incline, a lengthy hill for travel, and attracts an influx of people. For an easy find, take the Hicks Bridge exit off Route 88 until you reach the hill off Cadman's Neck Road. Even though the hill is actually on private property, they do allow sledding. However, be mindful of parking, as police have towed cars in the past. Know of another fun Fall River area sledding spot that didn't make the list? Let us know by emailing news@heraldnews.com. That's news@heraldnews.com. Looking further afield, in fact, out in the California area, Viral Eagles welcome their first eggs of 2026 by Fernando Cervantes Jr., USA Today. Jackie and Shadow, the two viral bald eagles who call Southern California their home, are once again expectant parents. In a Facebook post, Friends of Big Bear Valley, the nonprofit that runs 24/7 cameras and live streams of the eagles and their habitat, said Jackie laid her first eggs of 2026 in the couple's nest inside the San Bernardino National Forest on January 23rd and again on January 26th. Not long after egg number 1 was laid last night, Shadow arrived to attire Jackie's soft chortles, the nonprofit said. He stayed just long enough to get a perfect look at the egg as it nestled under Jackie. In another Facebook post on January 26th, the nonprofit said Jackie laid her second egg of the year. Since Jackie consistently lays eggs 3 days apart, this process slows the development of the first egg laid, so hatching will occur closer together. The eaglets will be closer in size, and all eaglets will have a better chance of survival, Friends of Big Bear Valley wrote. In February 2025, Jackie laid 3 eggs. At the time, both bald eagles were seen on video rotating shifts, sitting on the eggs, tidying up the nest, and caring for one another. The couple is doing the same thing almost a year later, taking turns caring for the 2 eggs. Jackie and Shadow have been extraordinary in their great care of their 3 eggs, patiently taking turns sitting on the eggs and sticking close to the nest even when it's not their turn, Friends of Big Bear Valley wrote in a Facebook post in 2025. More than 54,000 names were submitted by fans for the eaglets who survived. However, the final decision came down to students at Big Bear Valley Elementary Schools who, out of a list of 30 names, chose Sunny and Gizmo. Jackie and Shadow have gained an online following after the Friends of Big Bear Valley set up a webcam in Big Bear Lake Forest in 2016. Whether or not the bald eagles have children has been big drama for followers. Jackie and Shadow welcomed eaglets in 2019 and 2022, but lost eggs in 2023 and 2024. In 2025, their 3 eaglets hatched, but one died during a snowstorm. So let's hope Jackie and Shadow's eggs this year hatch and they are successfully raised 2 eaglets. Again, if you're interested in that, it's Big Bear Valley is where Friends of Big Bear Valley. That's where you can find the webcam, Friends of Big Bear Valley. Let's take a look at some local high school sport news in the Fall River Herald News, Thursday, January 29, 2026. Joseph Case boys have improved as the season has gone along, by Stephen Sanchez, the Herald News USA Today Network. Rome wasn't built in a day. That's the approach Joseph Case, first-year boys basketball head coach Chris Farrington, and his staff is taking to heart this winter. Farrington and his assistants, Curtis Cobb and Chad Trial, along with intern Julius Ramos, took over a group that went 1-19 last season. Through 11 games this season, the Cardinals have won 4 games, including 3 come-from-behind victories late in the fourth quarter. Farrington, whose team recently took it on the chin against defending Division II state champions Somerset Berkeley, losing 72-41, said it was a learning experience for his squad. We're focused on building culture similar to Somerset Berkeley at Case, he said. I want guys to be proud, putting on the red and yellow uniform and suit up. Eventually, we'll have someone come through our doors like Dom Taylor or better. Raiders first-year coach Chris Mendez played basketball with Farrington and Cobb over the years. He said Farrington has the Cardinals moving in the right direction. I'm very close with Chris and Curtis Cobb growing up together, Mendez said. I think what those guys are doing over there at Chase is creating exciting basketball, which is what they needed there. They are absolutely the right people for the job. Farrington said each of his coaches brings a certain dynamic to the team. He said Cobb, who is a former professional and D1 college player, brings an immeasurable level of basketball IQ and experience into the program, as well as gets guys confident. This is our 4th year together, so this is nothing new to us, said Cobb, who attended Fairfield for 2 years and graduated from UMass Amherst. We're taking on a new challenge and building something from the ground up. I saw a lot of potential in this group. I thought we have a good foundation with our juniors and senior guys we have. We have a good foundation to really build a good house. Farrington said Trial, who played basketball at Durfee and Seekonk, knows how to talk a guy into his role and get the most out of his players. Ramos, who plays AAU ball, has experience playing basketball and is nearly the same age of the players. Farrington said, our ship doesn't sail without the coaches working together. I pretty much have everyone on the same page, but there's a lot of work that goes into it. They don't get enough of the credit. Obviously, we all have our role to play. Right now, I'm the lead guy, the lead singer, but eventually these guys are good enough to get jobs. That brings me to the end of reading the Fall River Herald News for Thursday, January 29th. Stay warm. Until next week, be well.